Hey everybody, welcome back into the WSAZ Now studio where we're talking high school football. This is WSAZ Sports Plus. That man across from me is James Francis Treacy III. Tell people every week, don't you forget it. What a week it was in the world of high school football, Jimmy. Opening thoughts, man. We had some barn burners, some results that we didn't anticipate. Just an overall awesome week.
Oh, highlighted by that game of the week, which was a no-brainer. Anytime Wheelersburg and Ironton play, that's the game of the week. And normally it's been in week one last couple of years, but Coach Rob Woodward told me before the game some things have happened where it's now game 6, and I frankly love it at that spot. You got 5 games under your belt, you got a lot of film. The two teams are pretty stacked, and then they've all relatively healthy, and it turned out to be the game we thought it would. And so that was just a fantastic atmosphere. And, of course, got a chance to check out Portsmouth Notre Dame, who's unbeaten in Ohio in Division 7. That was a shootout with South Gallia at Spartan Stadium. And the action also in Kentucky, West Virginia, was thrilling all weekend long.
Well, let's start with that game of the week. So Wheelersburg beats Ironton 24-15. You and I were both there for pregame. I stayed for the rest of the game. But, man, an hour before kickoff, that atmosphere was rocking. What did it look like from your perspective down there on the sideline, everyone in orange and black?
Yeah, just from being there for Game of the Weeks previous years in week 1 and mid to late August, you look around 5 o'clock and there's already people at the gate, either entrance. No difference this year. During my 5 o'clock live shot, the hill from the concession stand to the parking lot at Wheelersburg already had a line up to the top of the hill. So you knew it was only going to get more bonkers as it got closer to kickoff, and as expected, at least 8,000 people were there for this game, and they saw a great one for sure, the one you saw the most of. And as well as these two teams were playing, not surprised it went down to the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I will say, though, I think a lot of people were surprised that Wheelersburg did come out on top. We know how good Wheelersburg is, but we also know how good Ironton has been. And a lot of people were saying, close at halftime, Tigers will pull away late. And the Tigers did lead it at halftime, but it was Wheelersburg that pulled away late.
Well, one of my favorite sports quotes of all time is from Iron Mike Tyson. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. So Wheelersburg came out swinging. Ironton's a great team, great athletes. But when you get guys at similar talent levels, and in a game where you think one team should win, the other could keep it close, or eventually the other team with better talent pulls away, you just say, look, keep it close to the fourth quarter and see what happens. And that happens all the time.
It felt like Wheelersburg was really opportunistic in the ways in which that they scored. I mean, they were facing possibly going 3 and out there on their opening possession, and Braylon Rucker improvises, extends a play, finds Elijah Brown. Next thing you know, they're down inside the 15-yard line. They score. So you go from facing a 3 and out, you're about to punt, to all of a sudden you're knocking on the door, you're up 7-0. Later in the game, in the third quarter there, they finally throw a deep ball and they connect to Xavier Miller. There's a touchdown. 43-yard field goal by Cooper Heimbach. That's where 17 of their points came from. And then, oh my goodness, a 4th and 1 late in the game in the fourth quarter with Ironton marching down the field, and it looked like here it comes. Here comes the Tigers. Wheelersburg gets off the field on that 4th down. They chew up the clock, and Elijah Brown hits the dagger there, really when they were just trying to run out the clock, and he called game.
Yeah, a lot of times in high school sports especially, you have to be opportunistic, and Rob Woodward's a smart man. He probably knew what he wanted to do in this game. You were there, you knew that it was a matter of keeping the ball out of Ironton's hands. They had a great day on the ground. Rucker threw also, when you have him throwing for 258, that's just incredible. And then when you go for a knockout blow like that place that must have gotten crazy loud when they scored late in the fourth quarter.
That was just one of the best high school football games to sit there and watch. 2 heavyweights. You got to think Wheelersburg's probably going to be 10-0 now if they take care of business and be the 1 seed in Division 5 Region 19. And Jimmy, you alluded to it last week. Probably going to see these two play again. I would be shocked if we don't come playoff time.
And I think if memory serves correctly, the state championships are the first weekend of December. Semifinals are Thanksgiving weekend. So that weekend before Thanksgiving, you could easily see Wheelersburg versus Ironton. I don't know, probably let's say Jackson. That'd be a great place for that game for sure. It wouldn't surprise either one of us to see them once again get to a regional final. I believe they've done that every year since 2013. 2025 should be no different.
Yeah. Good news for Wheelersburg. You're in the driver's seat now. You take care of business. You've almost I mean, if you can beat Ironton, you can beat anybody on your schedule. So you're thinking, hey, not only are we going to be a top 4 seed and be able to sit out that first week of the playoffs, but we'll be the 1 seed waiting on whoever's coming our way. The good news for Ironton, despite a loss, you're still Ironton. You still have all the athletes that you do. You know what kind of talent they have coming out of that locker room, and nobody wants to see those guys come playoff time. No one wants to see Orange and Black, Wheelersburg, or Ironton come playoff time.
Yeah, and sometimes a loss kind of can get you refocused. Not everything, especially in sports, nothing, all these championships and titles don't come easy. You got to work for it. And sometimes when you do lose, it kind of can get you refocused to what the greater goal is, and that might have done that for Ironton. So that would be a fun matchup if we see it again in November.
Something we should have mentioned last week, and this kind of tells you the run that Coach Woodward's been on the last week and a half. Last week when they beat Valley, he surpassed Ed Miller as Wheelersburg's all-time winningest head coach. You follow that up by beating your arch rival. Kudos to Coach Woodward. He's getting it done, man.
He's had a great week for sure, and I'm not sure people know this. He's also the athletic director, so that's just another pressure-laden job at a high school, especially with all the sports you got to deal with. So I talked to him about something before the game, and he mentioned like he had a kid's soccer game the next day. So it's like it's a fun time of the year for him, I'm sure, when you're being around these kids and your kids to watch them grow up and enjoy sports.
Yeah. What a handful for the Ironton and Wheelersburg coaches, because Pendleton's the AD there at Ironton, too. He's got a lot on his plate, winning 1 million games a year, you know.
Yeah, it's hard to complain to the AD when you're the AD.
Yeah, no kidding, man. And did you see the post-game prayer after the game? I thought that was pretty special.
Yeah, I saw your picture. Yeah, that's good to see. I mean, especially when two teams in such a rivalry game that I'm sure, they've been amped up all week for it. And when one team loses, there's a natural just anger and frustration that you look up at the scoreboard and you've lost the game. But, that's what I think a lot of people need to realize is it's just a game. I mean, you're going to wake up tomorrow, you can have pancakes and bacon, and the sun's going to rise, and you can have another chance to win the next week. So that was great to see.
Yeah, awesome competitive kids out there, and trust me, when they were between the lines, they were out there jawing, and they were talking, and they wanted to beat the other one. But from my vantage point there after the game, it looked like Bryson Mullins and Zane Williams from Ironton kind of came over, and they were kind of the catalyst for it, and the Wheelersburg players were all about it. We saw that at the end of the state championship game. Caden Edwards kind of led the charge there when Ironton beat Liberty Center. But for all the adults that were doing a lot of talking during the week and maybe are a little embarrassed of the way that they handled themselves, look no further than the kids on your teams that you support, because that was a heck of an example.
I'd let the kids be kids and have fun, and it's not, like they always say, no scholarships are being handed out tonight. So let the kids have fun. One's going to win, one's going to lose. Whatever happens, everyone's healthy and move on.
For now, Wheelersburg's got the upper hand, and we'll see what happens come playoff time if we do indeed get a rematch. But for now, it belongs with the Pirates. Let's go to the Commonwealth, Jimmy. Ashland beating Greenup 35-21. The Tomcats keep winning. That winning streak against Greenup extends. They still haven't lost to them since 1999. But if you're the Musketeers, you probably feel a little better about yourselves coming out of that one, even though it was a loss.
Yeah, they had some momentum in the second half, and honestly, I thought this game would have been much more of a disparity in score. But when you looked up and I saw it was 35-21, I said, well, it's good. The Musketeers, still have some fight in them. They're never going to quit. They run a good program over there at Greenup. I mean, at that momentum, Jasper Davis had a pick six. They had a defensive touchdown, threw for a touchdown, ran for a touchdown. So, yeah, these kids have pride no matter what their record is, and especially playing against a team that's your rival down the road, much like Ashland, Russell, and Greenup and Ashland. They like to see eye to eye plenty of times as well. So that's good. That's certainly some positive momentum to take Greenup County for the last, 4 weeks of the year.
Yeah, and despite kind of that second half momentum that Greenup had, Ashland had the answers on the ground. Cam Davis with another big game, 194 yards. 3 touchdowns for him. Brody Simpkins had 192 and a touchdown. You think 2 running backs almost get to the 200-yard mark? You better win the football game. The Tomcats did.
And that's so good to have when you're in a high school football program. If you have guys that can run 200-plus in a game, get some scores, that can just be demoralizing for a defense, because a lot of times those drives take up a chunk of time. Defense is tired. Offense is just gearing up to go. So that can certainly help them as we get towards the postseason in 5 weeks.
Yeah,
in Kentucky.
I mean, we're in October come this Friday now.
I was doing scores for the computer, and I was wrapping up October 31st scores, and I was like, that's like in 4 weeks.
It's like, no way,
or something like that. I guess it's Yeah, 4 weeks.
Yeah, they're starting to put out
4
the
weeks from
computer
Friday.
ratings and the RPI stuff in all these states. So you're starting to see the playoffs, kind of come to fruition here or get close to it. Let's go a little further south, Jimmy. Johnson Central beats Boyd County 21-14. The Golden Eagles keep winning, but a result that was closer than many expected it to be.
Yeah, much like Ashland, Greenup County, Johnson Central has been so good for so long. Boyd also, but sometimes it seems the Eagles have kind of had their number a little bit where they would win by 3 or 4 touchdowns in recent years. But once again, looked up at the score and I'm like, well, it was good. I mean, Boyd County went down the road, gave them a scare.
Johnson Central able to hold on. That tells you, kind of a veteran team there and how good they are to withstand something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then guess what? We get Boyd County and Greenup County this Friday. So two teams coming off losses, but probably feel pretty good about how they played against those opponents.
Yeah, and another game that I was looking at, we hope we can get from our sister station down in Hazard, is Johnson Central is going to Corbin, home of Luke Salmons.
That's right.
So that's one we'd like to see if we can get our hands on this weekend, because we'll have the Boyd Greenup game on this week's Football Friday night, not to spoil the lead. But, that should be a couple good interesting games for sure.
Sounds like that's one you're sending me to, so we'll see what it's looking like down there.
Well, you can't be in Ohio all year long.
Yeah, you got to spread me out. I've been in Ohio since week 1.
I know.
That's
what I thought. Like, let's send him across the river. He can go to get some nice grub on the way to the Ashland.
Russell, Ashland, Boyd, Greenup, Braceland, they're not far from me. We can get there. All right, how about some West Virginia ball? Chapmanville Regional keeps winning, Jimmy. They beat Williamstown 50-13, and that was one they had to go all the way up to Williamstown to play, and they walk out of there feeling real good.
Must have been the Andrew Colgrove's Team of the Week award that kind of spurred them on. Yeah, 4-0 already, first time since 2015. Preston Kovac had a big night against the Yellow Jackets, 144 yards on the ground, 23 carries, 3 touchdowns, and boy, the Tigers look like a formidable team here in about a month.
I'll tell you a kid that we might have to keep our eye on when we're ever at a Chapmanville game, because we have kick of the week now.
Oh, yeah.
Ashton McClanahan, he kicked a 43-yard bomb. So just have to let our photographers know, if you're shooting a Tiger game, keep your eye on Ashton McClanahan.
And if they keep winning, that's one of those teams that we got to get to, especially week 8, 9, and 10, 11 as well.
How about in the OVC, Fairland beats South Point 35-21. The Dragons trailed by 8 going into the fourth quarter. Were able to rattle off, what would that be, 22 points in the fourth to beat South Point. Heck of an effort for the Dragons to really keep their OVC championship aspirations alive. They got some work to do, but you lose that game and you kind of do yourself in.
Yes, South Point really gave them a nice little tussle on that night. I'm sure Phelan hoped it would be wouldn't be as close as it was, especially trailing into the fourth quarter. But Davin Murray had 2 touchdowns in that fourth quarter. That was inducted into the South Point Hall of Fame that night as well. Fairland needed that win big time because they want to win. Now that the OVC is pretty wide open with Ironton gone over the last year or two, that was a must-win for them.
Yeah, Davin Murray, Fairland running back.
Yes, right.
His
I saw
dad's
that. I'm
a
like,
South
wait a
Point
minute.
legend, and his dad, who is an assistant on Mike Jackson's staff there at Fairland, inducted into the Hall of Fame at South Point, and then your son goes and plays that well against that team. Probably a full circle moment for that family.
He had to kind of change shirts late in the second quarter whenever they had the ceremony, and then put the Fairland green and white back on.
Yeah. Congratulations to the Dragons and of course the Murray family. That was a big night for them. How about Capital keeping up with their winning ways? They beat South Charleston 35-24, and another big game for the Admiral.
Yeah, David Robinson has been just lining it up this year. It seems that he has a big play every week, and as I'm looking at the games for this week, I get the luxury of kind of picking where I get to go, and I saw top of the list, Capital hosting Huntington. That should be a great matchup. In years past, those two always seem to beat up on each other, have great games, and Robinson should be a nice threat to Huntington High because he's a great playmaker. Of course, Huntington High has theirs as well. They were off last week, so the High is rested. That should be a fantastic matchup at UC Stadium. And I'm not going to say I'll say it's game of the week.
Yeah. All right, I was going to say, maybe that's a foreshadowing, but you went ahead and nixed that.
I mean, we're
not foreshadowing.
We can kind of give that away early because that's always a fantastic I-64 matchup.
How about Cabell Midland getting on the winning side of the record column there for the first time? They beat Hurricane 62-7, and man, they got it done on the ground. Their quarterback, Bryson Smith, 127 yards on 5 carries, and running back Mason Bryant, 191 on 13 carries. Almost ran for 500 yards as a team, Jimmy.
Man, that's just scary good. And that's so odd to see those two teams at 0-4 on a Friday night. deep into September, because we're used to seeing those teams 4-0. But like, a lot of times in high school when you lose a coach, because Hurricane lost Donnie Mays back to South Charleston. Luke Sammons has been gone a couple years, and last year's coach for Midland, he left. So you two brand new head coaches. There's some things things you got to figure out with each other, with your team, with your coaching staff, and so they'll get them turned around. It's just incredible rebuilding year for both schools, and you just wonder when Hurricane might get that first win of the year.
It's coming. We'll see.
Well,
We'll have to look at their schedule.
I got a feeling I know when it's coming.
It's coming at some point.
There's one other team they both play that's also kind of struggling to rebuild, and I think that might be Hurricane's first win of the year.
All right, well, let's go to the Trojan Coliseum. Portsmouth beating Chesapeake 49-0. Tell us a little bit about the Trojans, because we've talked about them before. It's been kind of an up and down, ebb and flow year. Now they're back to 500.
Yeah, I had two games on Friday night. I was deciding between Portsmouth, Chesapeake, and then Notre Dame and South Galley. I'm like, Portsmouth might have a field day with Chesapeake because they're struggling and trying to kind of figure out who they are. And after 7-0, and you kind of feel that this game would get in hand. And boy, after I left, it kind of really got out of hand. 49-0 was the final. 3-3 are Portsmouth again, and Chesapeake still looking for that first win. Maybe the Fired Up Friday Angels will be there to get that first win this coming week. But Portsmouth played really well and got that third win of the year.
Yeah. Similar result. Spring Valley beating St. Albans 49-12. Talked about Zeke Lewis last week and the big run he had against Cabell Midland. He made some appearances on the highlights as well this week. Another big one for him.
Oh, he's a big boy. I wouldn't want to try to take him down or get in his way. And so Spring Valley now in AAA. They play Riverside. You think that would be win 4 for them, because they just love to pound that football, and they have great athletes, a great line. Of course, then after that you got Bridgeport, and then mentioned St. Albans. They're the team I was kind of mentioning a minute ago with Hurricane, and go figure, they play each other.
Yeah. Somebody's going to win
this week. Someone's going to win, but you give kids credit. I mean, I'm sure it's hard to play it, keep the focus, and keep trying to play hard by being winless. But they keep doing it, and that's what makes it fun to cover.
How about Mingo Central, man? They're undefeated still. They beat Wyoming East 58-7, 5-0 for the first time since 2016. And our folks down in Mingo County know what happened in 2016. The Miners were state champs.
The Miners are very talented. Bam Coleman, 123 on the ground, 2 touchdowns.
Heck of a name, too.
And, well, here's a better one. Jameer Knuckles, 12 of 23, 149. Miners really playing well.
Yeah. I always liked playing Sonic the Hedgehog and getting to use the Knuckles character because he was red, and that's my favorite color. So Jameer Knuckles wearing blue down there for Mingo Central. Close enough. We'll take it. Jacob Maynard, 17 tackles, including 5 tackles for loss. Taking Hackney, 17 tackles and an interception. So getting it done on both sides of the ball are the Mingo Central Miners these days. Let's go up to another game that you visited, the venerable site that is Spartan Stadium there. Notre Dame beat South Gallia 56-46, 102 points, Jimmy. What'd that game look like?
Well, that was the second game I went to that night, and I got there with about 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. It was already 21-12. I'm like, okay, and South Gallia had just scored. So I'm like, okay, I think we'll see some touchdowns here, hopefully, and I can kind of get back here in a reasonable hour and not be too pressed for time. But, oh, my goodness, they had 50 total points in the first quarter. 28-20. Second quarter was a scoring fest as well with Luke Cassidy. And South Gallia's also talented. I mean, that game was really fun to watch, because a lot of times you go to these games and you're praying for a couple touchdowns to get some highlights to take back, but it was boom, 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 and both quarterbacks were doing it. Cassidy for Portsmouth Notre Dame and Hunter Wright for South Gallia. He had 3 touchdowns, so that was a fun one to watch. And as I was leaving, I was talking to some emergency personnel and the paramedics, and the last thing I said was, I'm glad I took the over.
Yeah, because there's no way it was set at 104 or whatever, right?
But that's fun. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I get it. It's like baseball. A 1-0 game can be just as exciting as a 9-8 game. A 7-6 game can be great, but for our purposes, getting touchdowns makes really good television.
Yeah. I'm sure that a lot of these kids play both sides of the ball because it is Division 7. But what a strange week at practice. The offense puts up crazy numbers and the defense gives up crazy numbers, and you just hope that you're on the winning side of that.
Well, when I got back to the station Friday night, I was looking at the rosters and I was like, wait a minute, 12 got the return for a touchdown. 12 is a quarterback. Wait a minute. I was like, that's
guy.
Division 7. That's multiple positions to play, and that these kids are in good shape. I guarantee you that.
I mean, you even see the two-way players at the D5 level, too. I mean, D4 as well, for the most part. Now, you start getting into the bigger schools, they don't have to do that.
No.
Some kids do. They certainly don't have to.
Yeah, I think the D1 talent, especially running back, or maybe running backs who also play linebacker, those kids that could probably play multiple positions in college. They don't mind going both sides of the ball because that's just more tape for coaches to look at.
Yep. And you get kids hurt. Your best athlete might be your quarterback, but you probably don't need him playing defense if it doesn't have to be.
And kick returner.
But at Notre Dame, you need that, right?
You do. Oh, yeah, because you walk along these sidelines in Division 7 and 6, and it's like, you can count them. That shows where you're at, but that they're having fun.
Yeah. All right. Additional notes, Jimmy. Tell us about Oak Hill beating Waverly, because wins are hard to come by for the Oak Hill Oaks these days, but I'm sure that they partied and celebrated this one after beating Waverly for the first time in 22 years.
Yeah, first win over Waverly since 2003. Had lost 7 in a row to the Tigers. The Oaks playing well, or getting that win, but I'm sure they got refocused real quick because Wheelersburg is coming to town on Friday night, but that's a great win for them.
Yeah. How about Jaden Frazier? We've talked about him a lot on this program and on Football Friday night. The quarterback from Russell set a couple of single-game yardage and touchdown marks, 351 passing yards, most in a single game there at Russell, and he had 5 touchdowns, most in a single game at Russell.
Fantastic effort for him. He's hoping to keep that up when they get to playoff time.
And you'll take that in a win over Fleming County. It's one thing to break some records and maybe do it in a loss, and you're like, well, I can't even really be happy about it. But you win the game, then we can talk about that as well, too. Those 3 teams we mentioned in the SOC1, Jimmy, we are SOC1 enthusiasts on this program. Sims Valley, Eastern, and Notre Dame still unbeaten. And guess what? Sims Valley travels up to Beaver this Friday.
Yeah, we're still kind of formulating our plan of attack for Friday night, and that's one I keep going back to see if we can try to get someone up to Beaver. But that's kind of a haul on a Friday night to go an hour and a half probably to Beaver.
It's up there. Maybe we can get some parents to send us some video.
Hey, we'll take it. We'll take anything we can get, especially if it's close, which it should be. But yeah, that should be a fantastic Division 7 game, and both teams are playing very well.
Yeah. And I wanted to add this one in there too, a bounce-back win for Lawrence County, who's having an incredible season by Lawrence County standards. They feel like this is a team that can go deep in the playoffs. Suffered their first loss against North Laurel the last time that we saw them, and then followed it up here with a win over Letcher Central 57-47. They are number 5 in 3A, Jimmy.
Yeah, they're at home this weekend, so one can assume that, well, you can't assume anything, but being at home in Bulldog territory, that they can get another win and hopefully improve that seeding, as they're also close to playoffs in Kentucky. Bulldogs are playing really well.
Did you see anything else that caught your attention there last Friday, Jimmy? I mean, we had so many great games. I just think about that atmosphere that I got to see, and you just almost wish that every high school football game was like that, But wherever you play and whoever you play for, I'm sure it's special no matter what.
And that's what's great about covering this every year long, is you could have 6,000 people at Wheelersburg, Ironton. You have a couple hundred at Portsmouth, Notre Dame, and South Gallia. But when a team's playing well and there's a big play, it's just as loud. I mean, sometimes it can be deafening. That's what the kids love to see. That's how they love to play. And as we get closer and closer to rankings and playoff times, the wins get probably a little harder and more important.
Well, let's go to this week, Jimmy. Tell us about our game of the week. You already told us.
I know. I'd spoiled the lead, but this is a rivalry that dates back since both schools became consolidated, and they seem to like to beat up at each other every year. Both teams 3-1. Huntington, their only loss came in week 1 to the team from Tennessee. And I think they learned a lot from that. Okay, this team's really good. We're really good. Just some things happened, and once they got back to teams in our area, they have just been a juggernaut. Tavion Wilson is playing spectacularly behind center at quarterback. He's got tremendous weapons, and UC Stadium should be a pretty fun place to be. We'll see what John Carpenter has lined up, because when you have offensive weapons that can just kind of go back and forth like they do with David Robinson the third, or junior. Is it a third or junior?
I believe it's junior.
It's junior. I'm used to hearing James Francis Tracy the third. But that's a game I can't wait for it to start.
How about Scott versus Mingo Central? The Miners got to go on the road, but they're rolling right now. They haven't beat Scott since 2019, though. Can they get to 6-0?
Yeah, and Scott's rebuilding a little bit because they've been so good for so long. But like I said, sometimes you lose a bunch of seniors, and then you got to get these freshmen to become sophomores to become juniors. And Mingo Central, I'm sure they kind of was one of those road games where let's just knock them out early and get some rest and try to get to 6-0 because the more playoff seeding is important, especially with so many teams in their class.
Another intriguing matchup, Parkersburg, who's 3-2. They host GW, who is 5-0. Parkersburg, they've won 3 in a row. They beat Hurricane, Parkersburg South, and Riverside, but GW coming off quite the win up at Barnesville, Ohio, ending a 41-game regular season win streak for the Shamrocks up there.
Yeah, GW, I'm sure they're tired of going up I-77. I'm sure that's how you get to Barnesville.
I'm not sure. I've never been to Barnesville.
That's what's
one of these days.
That's what's funny about Ohio is you'll hear a school, I'm like, where's that again? But yeah, the Patriots have been sneaky good all year long. All of a sudden, that's what Steve Edwards does. He has great kids, and they can easily be 5-0 in the blink of an eye. And they've had some great wins throughout the year, and I'm sure they want to finish strong.
How about in the OVC? Rock Hill hosting Gallia Academy. The Red Men are 5-1, Jimmy, and they're also undefeated in conference play. It feels like if Rock Hill can keep winning, that they'll be on a collision course with Colgrove week 10. That is if they keep winning.
I know I'm sending you to Kentucky this week, but you might be in Ohio that weekend. But yeah, the lone loss to Boyd County in week 2, and they've won 4 in a row. The Red Men want to probably knock out Gallia Academy early. Get a nice win, keep some kids rested and healthy, because it's week 7 in Ohio.
I could see this being a pretty competitive game, and Coach Gerald's boys are much improved. They got some kids that, as we've talked about on this show prior, that are playing some fearless football. They've got some belief, got some confidence that maybe they didn't have last season. So it'll be an uphill climb for Gallia Academy to beat a pretty good Rock Hill team, but I feel that this is going to be a pretty competitive game, Jimmy.
Yeah, that's one of our games coming up, and I think hopefully our photographer gets there and it's close and we can get another good finish.
How about this one? Hazard hosting Raceland. Raceland's number 2 in Class 1A. Hazard just cracking the top 10 there at number 10 in 1A. They played twice last year, and it wasn't close. Raceland put it on them. Could we see that again this Friday?
I believe so. The Rams, I think, are on a mission to finally go to Lexington and bring home a state title. Case in point, the Week 1 win against Ashland. They're 4-1.
Landon Stiltner's running hard. Has been all year long.
Yeah, they're so talented. There might be a Class 1A school, but they play higher up than that because they have great facilities. They're doing a fantastic job. So expect that to be maybe a beatdown down on Hazard.
We will see. They're going to come after you if it's not now. If Hazard pulls off the upset. If we clip this and put it out there.
Yeah. Hopefully the Bulldogs don't see that. Or maybe they can put it up and get inspired by it.
I'll make sure I tag them for you.
Oh,
okay.
thanks.
How about that?
I'm not shooting that game.
How about Boyd County and Greenup County? We kind of alluded to this one, but the 2 teams that are coming off losses to opponents that a lot of people thought that they couldn't hang with, and they certainly did. What do you think about this one?
Well, both teams coming off losses, like you said. BC lost to Johnson Central. Greenup County lost to Ashland. It's another one of those, cross-county rivalry games. Last year's game, hopefully, will be a repeat of this week. So it was 42-37. Tyson Salmons went bonkers for the Musketeers. So they would love to have another classic game up off I-64 at Boyd County.
Well, I'm glad you're sending me to that one. I hope it lives up to its billing like it did last year, because that thing was crazy.
The fun part about my Sundays is I kind of get my stuff done, and then I'll print my high school football schedule, and I'll just kind of look at it. And I'll scratch out games we can't get to, and then I get down to from the 60, 70 games that we could possibly get to, and then you whittle it down to 30, and then you whittle it down to 15. It's like, I like that.
You could be a logistics manager for UPS on the side. This is where you need to go, how you need to get there, how we can get the most bang for our buck. I feel like you'd be awesome at that.
Well, I tried to read a book about baseball analytics years ago, and I didn't get through the first 10 pages. I'm like, this is really boring, and I shut it.
I thought you were talking Moneyball for us there for a second.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't get past 10 pages.
Well, it's too many numbers.
Yes, makes me confused.
All right, we've got plenty of games, as we always say. We wish we could get to them all, but we're paying attention to them all. Right?
You bet. Don't forget you have the score. You have the ticker at the bottom of the TV every Friday night.
And you can check out the scores. Let's talk about some of these matchups. Braxton County goes to Polka. Buffalo at Calhoun. They were just coming off a loss to Tulsa. We were there for Fired Up Friday last Friday morning, and the Rebels got it done. Check this one out, Jimmy. St. Francis de Sales with Ryan Day's son as their starting quarterback. That's R.J. Day coming to Ona.
Oh, my gosh.
To play Cabell Midland.
I wonder if R.J. will think he's at Ohio State game with all the silver and red from
and the fight song.
Yeah, exactly. That should, man, I might have to rethink that game.
Yeah, you may want to go see St. Francis de Sales play. They're pretty tough.
No, I might have to tweak my schedule a little bit. We got Chapmanville Regional at Tulsa. Tigers trying to get to hopefully remain unbeaten. South Charleston, Herbert Hoover will be there for that game. Nice AAA matchup there. And battle of winless teams, St. Albans against Hurricane. We will see who gets their first win after that.
How about Wayne playing Lincoln County? Wayne has been a little down this year. Lincoln County still trying to really pick themselves back up. It's been tough sledding for them for a few years now. And then Clay County at Logan. I believe the Wildcats still undefeated, Jimmy.
Mm-hmm. They're playing well. They got a great quarterback slinging it around. One could think the Wildcats at home can win that one. Sherman going to Man. Point Pleasant at Nitro. The Wildcats could run wild in that thing. Nicholas County at Midland Trail. And Andrew Colgrove, as of today, this moment, Roane County at Ripley. And I mentioned that to him Sunday night, and his reaction was, ooh. So
sound the alarm.
That means he's intrigued, which is great news.
Here comes Andy Colgrove to Ripley. Watch out now. A few more. Richwood at Tygarts Valley. I don't know if I even pronounced that correctly.
It's more Tygarts.
Tygarts Valley. Okay, we'll take that. Riverside at Spring Valley. Sissonville at Pikeview. Tug Valley at James Monroe. Got a lot of teams on the road this week.
Mm-hmm.
Wahama at Eastern Meg, so they're playing another Ohio team.
Yeah, it's almost time to get Wahama again as well as they're playing, and they're still unbeaten. But they're on our radar as we hit October for sure.
And a long road trip for Winfield, Jimmy, all the way down at Princeton.
If Winfield fans, we will have that. Well, we're 99% sure going to have that game. We have our affiliate down there, WVVA, so I've already put a word out to them. I mean, it's right in their wheelhouse. I can't imagine they wouldn't be at that game, so expect to see some highlights from the Generals and Tigers in that one. The Princeton, the high school of my better half.
There you go. I didn't realize she was a Princeton alum.
Oh, yeah.
Big time. All right, cool. Tell us what's going on in Ohio this Friday.
All right, Alexander. Spartans, right?
The Spartans.
Spartans at River Valley. Megs is at Athens. Sims Valley at Eastern Pike.
That's a huge game in the SOC1.
Yeah,
that's a huge game.
There are a couple things I need to check on to see if we can get to. Fired Up Friday, South Point at Chesapeake. KIP, what's that stand for?
I don't know. Remember we talked about Columbus KIP?
Yeah.
They played Wheelersburg earlier this year.
It has to, if it's all capital letters, it has to represent something. But yeah,
either that or it's somebody's last name. Mm-hmm. Could be.
And then Portsmouth at Fairland. It's a huge game for the Dragons. Try to keep in that OVC race.
McLean goes to Jackson, and that is not the Cincinnati Reds' second baseman. That's the McLean Tigers. Northwest goes to Vinton County. Minford at Waverly. Waverly, of course, just got beat by Oak Hill. You'd almost think Minford might get them another one.
That would be certainly mighty for them. Wellston at Nelsonville, York. Wheelersburg going to Oak Hill. That should be interesting for sure. See what the Oaks can hang with the Pirates. Another game we're going to hit, Portsmouth Notre Dame, back-to-back weeks. When you're unbeaten deep into the season for Ohio, you get a little bit more of our attention. They're going to Green. The Titans hoping to remain unbeaten. One would think they probably will.
Quite the facility the Green Bobbies have over there, man. That place is awesome. One of the best, really, in terms of D7 football
it's fantastic.
over there.
They needed that new field for a long time.
Oh, they did, for sure. Federal Hawkins at Manchester. Portsmouth West is at Valley. A little Scioto County action there. Waterford at Southern. And again in the SOC1, Sciotaville East at South Gallia. Tell us about Kentucky, Jimmy.
All right. We mentioned them earlier. Lawrence County looking to play well this season as they're hosting Mason County. Leslie County at Martin County. Ridgeview at Paintsville. Pikeville, Southwestern, Pike Central going to Shelby Valley. And Knott County Central hosting the Prestonsburg Black Cats.
The Prestonsburg Black Cats.
That's right.
P-Burg,
I almost called them the Black Knights for Point Pleasant. I'm like, I know that's not right.
No, the Black Cats, man. They're awesome. All right. Final stretch here. Rowan County and Ashland. East Ridge at Belfry. East Carter at Bath County. And tell us about the last few, Jimmy.
Fairview They're hosting Nicholas County out of Kentucky. Fleming County going to Lewis County. And, man, I'd love to get highlights of this game. Johnson Central going to Corbin to take on Luke Salmons' team. We drove through that town in early August on my last vacation until January. And that's a cool little town, Corbin. You can tell it's one of the small towns that probably love their football, and that should be a fun one for sure.
Can't say I've ever been to Corbin, Kentucky, unless I've driven through and just wasn't paying attention. There's a chance that maybe I was in the back of my parents' car playing PSP or Nintendo DS or something.
Or sleeping.
Game Boy Advance, whatever the consoles were back in the day. Have you adjusted to the fact that this program is now at 9 p.m., Jimmy?
Funny story.
Let's hear it.
I never, ever fall, like I said, I never fall asleep before. If I'm lucky, I'm going to sleep by 1 o'clock. So I got up early last week, and I saw that you mentioned on the news that I had to set my alarm to watch the show at 9. I literally was watching TV in the bedroom. I fell asleep at 8:30. I woke up, it was 9:01. I went, you must have called it right.
Biological clock, man.
Well, I just, sometimes when you lay down, you just fall asleep, and that was one of those nights. But I don't need to set my alarm for later tonight. I'll be up.
You know what we're going to be competing with on Tuesday night when this thing streams?
Reds.
We're going to be competing with the Reds.
Yep, another game that young Reds fans can't watch because they have school the next morning. It'll be over at midnight.
Yeah, we're going to have to get on the Reds. I'll email the Castellinis and let them know that if the numbers are down for that game, it's because WSAZ Sports Plus was streaming that night on our app. So you hate to see that.
It's a popular show.
A lot of Reds fans in our neck of the woods too.
Yes, there are. And it's always makes summer fun when the Reds are good now into September. I mean, they with the pitching they have, they could take 2 out of 3 from Los Angeles. They just got to hit the ball.
It's funny.
Hunter Green can't give up 1 run and 3 hits and then not score any.
It's funny, the people that are watching this right now, they may have turned the channel to us because the Reds may be getting hammered right now. So
don't say that. You never know. Hey, when I say we talked about it earlier today, when you drop 5 out of 6 to the Pirates to end the year over various series, and you still have the gumption to play well and make the playoffs and get big series wins in other places. You never know.
That's what I keep telling myself, man. They have a chance, and that's all we've asked for.
I've said it a million times. Sports is the best reality television.
It is. Well, hopefully this reality show is scripted for the Cincinnati Reds. That's all I ask, okay?
Yep.
Well, Jimmy, we appreciate you joining us, my friend. We're going to bring up the camera 4-shot so everyone can see that is James Francis Treacy.
Hang loose.
The third. Rock on, Jimmy. Thank you, sir. Okay, that was Jimmy Treacy joining us up here on the WSAZ Now desk to talk high school football as we always do on Tuesdays. Want to remind you about Fired Up Friday this Friday. We are going to Chesapeake. It's been a tough year for the Panthers, but it's not going to be a tough morning. We're going to have a lot of fun. I'm told the theme may be Welcome to the Jungle. There may be thinking like Super Bowl halftime type concert vibes. I don't know. We will see. I understand that it is happening outside on the football field. It's going to be electric. I hope the whole village of Chesapeake joins us because they did when we went a year and a half ago for basketball season. I know basketball is a big deal at Chesapeake. We got to get behind the boys for Fired Up Friday for football this Friday morning, 6 a.m. right here on WSAZ. It's going to be awesome. Looking forward to seeing a sea of purple out there. It's going to be sweet. Can't wait. And I'm not worried at all about the Chesapeake faithful because I'm telling you, that first time we went to you all for Fired Up Friday for basketball season was unbelievable. Can you live up to it again? We will see. That's up to you. That's on you. I'll just try not to mess it up on the broadcast. That's always my biggest fear, right? Okay, I think that about does it. Just remember that you can find us all over the place. We have hit more than 1,000 followers on our TikTok account at WSAZ Sports Plus. It's on Twitter as well. It's on Instagram. We have eclipsed, I believe, 700 followers on Instagram, which is nice. I don't think the algorithm on there is quite as strong as it is on TikTok. There was one day where all of a sudden like 300 to 400 of you found us on TikTok all at once, and we went up over 1,000 followers. That was great. Fantastic. Follow us on the socials. You can find me on Twitter at JPaytonTV. You can find me on Facebook. It's just my name with WSAZ at the end of it. We try to put clips of this show on here. We put clips of the college football show that we do with Keith each week on those social media accounts. And we also post your Football Friday Night highlights on there as well. With all that said, go follow us on there. Everything that you're looking for you're going to find right there. Of course, you can find all of it on the WSAZ app and on WSAZ.com as well. Remember this program, 9 o'clock on Tuesdays now. If you're watching us, streaming it right now, congratulations. You are in the right spot. Appreciate you for rolling with the punches, because we went from 6:30 to 9 o'clock, and it was just kind of like, well, I hope everybody understands that that's when it's happening now. But it sounds like that this is a better time slot for everyone. I would imagine if you're a parent with kids who play sports, 6:30, you're probably not at the house. 9 o'clock, maybe you're at the house eating dinner. Late dinners, I don't know. But anyways, that does it for this episode of WSAZ Sports Plus. We appreciate you joining us. We will see you again, same time, same place, next Tuesday at 9 p.m.